Because the surge in positive COVID cases due to the Delta variant forcing so many cities and businesses to really reconsider COVID restrictions.
Yeah, starting on September 13th, vaccinations will be required at restaurants, gyms, movie theaters. One local congressman that is upping the ante and asking the feds to implement a vaccine mandate for air travel. That is Congressman Ritchie Torres, and he joins us this morning with details on his plan. Good morning, Congressman. So good to see you.
Morning.
It's a pleasure to be here.
You know, the vaccine incentives have been working. We've seen an increase in the number of people going to get their COVID shots. However, you believe a mandate is the right way to go when it comes to air travel. Explain how that would work.
Yeah, so as the Vice Chair of Homeland Security, I'm introducing legislation that would mandate vaccination as a requirement for air travel. So the Transportation Security Administration prevents people from entering airplanes and airports with weapons. And there's a sense in which the Delta variant is a weapon. It's a biological weapon. I would argue that there's no greater threat to the homeland security of the United States than the Delta variant, which is the most dangerous and deadliest form of the coronavirus. And we have to strengthen the incentive to get vaccinated. We have to exhaust every means of crushing the virus.
So let me ask you this then. Would the vaccine requirement be for domestic travel? Would it be for just international flights? How are you actually seeing this play out?
So the mandate would apply to both.
So let me ask you this, because the Biden administration is working on a plan now to require foreign visitors to be fully vaccinated. So you're saying that wasn't enough. That's why you and Mark Levine you want to take this one step further and say everybody, no matter where you're going, has to be vaccinated.
We have to go much farther. And let me be clear, I'm not proposing a universal mandate. What I'm proposing are targeted mandates for certain circumstances and select settings.
What does that mean?
Explain that.
Such as air travel and large gatherings. You know, the Kaiser Family Foundation did a survey and found that there are 4 factors that could move the vaccine hesitant toward vaccination. The first is FDA approval, which hopefully will happen within the month. The second is a prescription from one's doctor, which would follow from FDA approval. The third is proof of vaccination in large gatherings. And the fourth was proof of vaccination for air travel. And that's the subject of my legislation.
So what about families who have children under the age of 12 who cannot get vaccinated? Does it mean that they can't travel?
The children would be exempt because the children are ineligible for vaccination. So there are exemptions for those who are ineligible.
Who else would be exempt? Anyone else? Like if you have a religious or medical reason that you cannot get vaccinated?
Yeah, if there are exceptions, we'll certainly make the exceptions, and there would also be an exemption for the immunocompromised. But the vast majority of Americans are eligible for the vaccine and should get one. We've seen the limitations of voluntary vaccination in the United States and in New York City. The majority of Americans are not yet fully vaccinated. Only 55% of New Yorkers are fully vaccinated, and a majority of people here in the Bronx are not fully vaccinated. So as Albert Einstein once said, if we do the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, that's the definition of insanity. We have to pursue vaccine mandates in some form.
So I guess when you look at this at face value, many will say, okay, well, why just on planes then? Why not on any kind of travel, right? Why not on a cruise ship or a Amtrak train or so on and so forth? Why limit it just to planes?
Look, I'm in favor of incrementally moving toward greater and greater vaccination. The impetus behind my bill was the Kaiser survey. The Kaiser survey was crystal clear that requiring vaccination as a condition for air travel could substantially raise the likelihood of vaccination among the hesitant.
What do you say to critics who look at this and say, you know what, again, this is Big Brother telling me what to do with my life. It's voluntary right now. I have chosen not to do it. And now you are making it so that any way for me to travel, move around, go into restaurants, go to gyms, get on airplanes, I can't do so unless I get a vaccine. So essentially, you're forcing it upon folks.
So there's a concept known as the harm principle, which holds that you should have the freedom to do what you wish, as long as you do not harm others. When you refuse to vaccinate, you are harming others. You are putting at risk the people around you. You are preventing society from achieving population immunity, and you're causing the virus to spread and mutate. And according to the CDC director, the virus could be a few mutations away from evading the vaccine.
Right.
So it's wrong to think of the refusal to vaccinate as a personal decision that only affects yourself. That's wrong. It has implications for the larger society.
Okay, so let me ask you this then, because in the district that you represent and in the Bronx, vaccination rates are actually pretty low compared to the rest of the city, right? And so I hear exactly what you're saying about getting those numbers up. So for those who may say, well, I don't have money to fly on a plane, so that doesn't affect me, and I'm still not going to get vaccinated. What are you doing in the Bronx to actually get those vaccination numbers up?
No, it's a fair question, and for me, one of the most important actions that we can take is to expedite FDA approval. Because once the FDA approves the vaccine, then doctors will have the ability to prescribe the vaccine. And I'm confident that the trusting relationship between a doctor and a patient can break down the barriers of distrust and disinformation that have kept people from taking the vaccine in the first place.
Congressman,
so
very
FDA
quickly.
approval would be a game changer.
I just want to slip this in quickly before we run out of time. Are incentives a better way to go than a mandate? Because we've seen the incentives work here in New York. Would that coach people into doing this more so than a mandate? Because to be honest with you, a lot of folks are saying, look, I can go down the street and buy a fake vaccine card for $50 and get on a plane, so it doesn't change anything.
It's not either or, it's both and we have mandates, right? You're going to be mandated to be vaccinated in order to access large gatherings. It's only logical that we apply that requirement to other settings like air travel.
Understood. Congressman Ritchie Torres, I appreciate you joining us this morning to kind of explain and lay all of this out. Keep us posted on where it goes and how it goes, okay?
Absolutely.
Good to see you.